Hi, I'm Stephen Brown, and welcome back to the Creative People Show. I have with me a mother and daughter duo, Joan and Katie Wright, and they have a group they call MasterPeace, with peace spelled P-E-A-C-E. Okay,
Exactly.
and welcome to the show.
Thank you,
you.
Steve.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to be here.
I appreciate you coming up from Branson to come talk with us, talk with our viewers, listeners,
Exactly.
and I know you've done a lot of stuff. I'll start with Joan.
Yes.
You said in your bio that in 2014 you came down to Branson. Where did you come from?
We were living in Carroll at the time. Katie was born in Cedar Rapids, but
Oh, yeah.
pretty much I decided because my grandparents retired down here in Arkansas, in the
Yeah.
Mountainburg area.
Yeah.
I said, it's a mecca for music. It's a pull for tourism. There will always be a job for her, whether it's in the music industry or something else. So I figured this is the logical place to go.
Yeah.
And it's family friendly.
Yeah, yeah. This whole area between here in Springfield all the way down to Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and
Exactly.
Harrison, Arkansas. That's why I wanted to do this show, is because I have been in the acting and music and film industry in this area, and I've found so many creative people in this area. I wanted to introduce them to the world, and
There's
I
a
have
lot.
almost an unlimited supply of people that are going to be coming on my show eventually. Some just have to work out their schedule. Katie, you're a drummer.
Yeah, I play drums and percussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom forgot to mention this also, but last year I just started learning how to play piano too.
Nice.
So.
Started taking
Yeah.
some.
You played trumpet as well.
In marching band, yes.
Yeah. You still play?
No, I don't play trumpet much now, but
Yeah.
I did.
She doesn't do
I did
much
in high
of both.
school. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I played trombone. That was my first band instrument. You know.
Wow,
And
that's
of course,
good.
that's in the bass clef.
Yes.
And I tried to play a trumpet, and the mouthpiece was just too small for me because the trombone is bigger.
Yes, it
Anyway,
is.
but once I found the guitar, I gave up on
Yeah.
all other instruments
Yeah,
because
that's
that
kinda
was my passion. I would practice for hours and hours and hours a day. And the hardest part in playing guitar is getting your calluses built up,
Exactly. Yes.
getting
Yeah.
past the pain
The pain of callus.
of building those calluses. You have 20 years experience in community theater.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
In this area or
Very
up in Iowa?
up in Iowa.
Various areas.
Mostly up in Iowa. We did
Yeah.
do one production down here. Basically, we were in Damn Yankees
Oh,
down here, both Katie and I.
Nice.
So yeah. we were
what'd you
in there.
do up in Iowa? What shows
I
did
did
you do?
Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
I did Stephen Sondheim's Company.
Yeah.
I did, let's see, another one which has a very risque name, No Sex Please Were British. I played the British secretary. So it was a
Yeah.
nice, safe role
Yeah,
for a nice
yeah.
girl. But, and then there were a couple of other smaller productions, some variety shows, and some, The King and I,
Oh,
you know.
I love
and
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of
All those
very
musicals.
standard, traditional.
I also did a little community theater in high school
did.
and after high school as well.
Yeah.
I was in music. I played just like your friend there. I played some side characters a lot. I
Yeah.
was in Music Man,
Uh-huh.
Damn Yankees, as she mentioned. We also did the Great Passion playing for 1 year
yeah,
down
we
in
did do
Eureka
that.
Springs,
Oh,
Arkansas.
Oh,
Eureka
did you?
Springs,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
We did do
I've seen that a few times. My first time was long before you were born.
Yeah, that was
Back in
probably me too.
78, I think it was.
That would have been when my grandparents took me too.
Yeah, yeah. Our youth group from church went at
Yeah.
that time.
That's great.
Oh, you were in the, you did something at the Hot Hits Theater? What was that?
Yeah, it was a short stint. It was just to do some comedic side characters for their Halloween. They did a little Halloween theme show
Yeah.
type thing.
That's in
And
Branson. by the
so
way.
I did this horrible makeup job and wig thing for Gloria Gaynor. I Will Survive, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
was a zombie.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's, I hate to say that that's my first claim to acting in
Oh.
Branson was being
Oh.
a zombie, but obviously it was.
And
I
I-
remember what I was going to say about community theater. I always advise new actors to start in community theater. That's good. It's a good training ground
It is.
because it forces you to learn the craft, and it forces you to know your lines
Exactly.
because you can't, like in film, if you mess it up, they say, oh, do another take. But on stage, you're out in front of the audience.
Exactly.
You got to either do the lines or make something up.
Oh boy, do I know all about that. Wow.
Oh, this caught my attention.
Yes.
Santa trains. You performed on a Santa train?
Well, I
Well,
performed
they call it
with
Santa
the
Train.
Polar Express
Oh,
downtown.
Polar Express, yes.
I
Wait.
did do that as a gig.
But
Yeah.
we did a festival in December 2019.
Yeah,
It was called
Hollister.
Santa Train. Basically, they had a train depot, and Santa would go into train depot and
Yeah.
meet the kids and all that.
And we were right at
we would
the
we would
mid-stop
perform
where
right
people
right
would be
outside their
gathered
door
and-
and do Christmas music and all
And we
that
did the
stuff.
Christmas music, and we did pretty traditional, standard Christmas songs. But we managed to do 3 of our Christmas album
Oh,
songs.
nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
they kept it pretty open-ended. They said, we like it when you do some of your own stuff, that's good, but throw in those traditional carols. And I said,
Yeah.
yeah. And we
State
did.
of the Ozarks Festival. What
That
was
was
about?
Marshall's little project to launch into a second version of Song of Hope. Next
Okay.
year, I think he's going to try to get it as Song of Hope.
Okay.
Like Song of Hope Volume 2 or something, you know.
I
that
don't know,
kind of
something
thing.
like that, yeah.
It's going to have a title.
I just noticed,
tie it.
speaking of Marshall Howden, who is the grandson of
Mel Tillis.
Mel
Mel
Tillis,
Tillis,
yes. He just got assigned a job with the city of Branson as being kind of the liaison between the city and the entertainers.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I heard
That's
about
really
that. Yeah.
awesome that
Yeah,
he's
that's
good
nice.
at what
Yeah,
he does.
that'll be a great job for him. Okay, here's something interesting that you wrote. You said, and I'm going to read this verbatim.
Okay, sure.
Pardon me.
That's okay.
Your goal is to promote the realization that individuals with disabilities can entertain. Therefore, their album insignias include a stained glass puzzle piece cross as their icon. As you know, autism and the spectrum uses the puzzle piece, and
Yes,
they
it
use a
does.
stained glass. I have a
Cross.
grandson who's on the spectrum as well, so
Yeah.
I understand.
So that's part of the motivation of pulling our Christian faith and our motivation for Jesus as a witness into the whole promoting people with disabilities and special needs to be
Yeah.
able to come forward and be brave and be able to have an audience that's willing to listen and be patient. I have to emphasize patience. We are so geared in this culture to believe that people have to be spot on perfect at everything. You need to have patience with people with disabilities. We've worked with Dylan Pratt. And when we pulled him in the studio for a Christmas album, he kept saying, I need a break, I need to go outside. So I told Rich, I said, I'll pay for an extra time. I'll
Yeah.
pay for 2 hours or 3
Yeah.
hours if we have to, just so we could work with Dylan. Dylan did a really good job, and he's come a long
Yeah.
ways.
What does he play?
He's basically promoting
He's
himself.
a singer.
He's a singer.
Singer,
And he's also an actor.
His dad worked for the Mel Tillis group, basically.
Okay.
So he's trying to do a little bit of a tribute to him.
Okay.
But he's also
Nice.
trying to establish his own show.
Well-
and I guess he's going to get a shot at it in July.
Nice.
Yeah, so
nice.
he's going to do, I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing thing or just a one-night thing or something.
I'm not exactly sure
But
on
he
that.
invested a
Yeah.
lot of money in it. I would ask your audience, please go support Dylan Pratt and his show.
Dylan Pratt. Okay.
Yes.
And
Be
she
sure and
also
put
got
that
the
on.
inspiration to give people with disabilities a chance also because I also have a slight disability. I was in special ed 12 years in school, ADHD and a learning disability as well. So
Yes, and then when I was a child, I was dyslexic.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, the problem is trying to keep from turning things around. Lyrics, lyrics, script.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
With my acting, I had to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse like crazy. Then I'd put it on a tape recorder and listen and listen and listen like crazy.
Yeah.
Back then it was tape recorders, not the modern technology. But yeah, that's how I learned my lines. I have to have feedback from another person.
Right.
You know.
And not just reading it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been telling this joke for a long time. I hope it doesn't offend you, but do you know what a dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac does?
I don't know. I think I might have heard this.
They
but-
lie awake at night wondering if there's a dog.
I think I did hear that.
Okay.
But it's a cute one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. But,
Okay.
yeah, Dylan did the song "Mary Did You Know."
Yeah.
It was very good.
Yeah,
he
I
did
love
a
that
great
song.
job.
Yeah.
It's the first song he did on the album. So.
Oh, nice. That's on your album?
That's on
The
our
Christmas album.
Oh, okay,
yes.
nice.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
same album, we had a few.
I thought it was just all you. I haven't had
No,
a chance
it
to
was
listen
all
to it
a
yet.
collaboration of
Okay.
some really talented people.
You you say 80% of your profits go to
Charities.
charities, including the Wounded Warriors.
Yes.
How did
We've
you
done
come
Wounded
across-
Warriors 2 years in a
Yeah.
row, and pretty much we didn't say it on the second album, but some of the country album went to Wounded Warriors too. We love the charity, we love the veterans. We want to get that exposure with helping the veterans for their special needs.
Yeah.
Because obviously, even though we do people with developmental challenges, there's an awful lot of veterans that have PTSD, and we want to help them. And if this is some small way we can do it.
Yeah.
And I told Katie, when we first started doing the albums, I said, we're not in this for money. We're not doing it for money. We're doing it to basically help
But
people.
what do you do for an income, a living?
What we do is we take a portion of the percentage of that and put it in and save it for the next project.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make this as a regular income.
I'm talking
We-
about your regular.
What's your
everyday-
regular job?
My
everyday-
regular job, I work a regular job in culinary
Okay.
in Branson.
Okay.
But we use this as sort of like an outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just about everybody in Branson has at least 2 or 3. If
Yeah.
they're full-time entertainer, they have probably 4 shows that they do
Exactly.
at least, or they have 1 or 2 shows and do a full-time job.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I know all about
That's
that.
me.
As far as ordering any music or something, the way it usually works is we go on like Trust. So what they do is they send us a reply, they want something, we'll go ahead and ship it out to them, and we just pray about it.
Wait.
And then we pray about it, and 9 times out of 10, they'll give a donation as well
Yeah.
as getting the CD.
Nice.
So,
I've almost run out of CDs. I'm going to switch to flash drives
I should do that.
because new cars don't have CD players in them.
No, I think it's just a kind of the way Branson is. They're kind of catering to the older tourist crowd.
Yeah.
And that's a great crowd because I'm a firm believer of the older music is just as valid, like I told Marshall, as the newer music.
Yes.
What you can do is take an old song and adapt it to a different rhythm or a different speed, and it becomes a new.
I've found young people discovering older music
That they like.
and say, "Oh, I like this. This is cool."
Yes.
Because it's different
Yes.
than what they're used to hearing.
Exactly.
My youngest son is 21. He's a kid. He listens to stuff from the 60s and the 70s, you know,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
new stuff too. But he'll share something with you. Hey, have you heard this? Yeah, like 30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
You mentioned a project called Songbird, and that's a tribute
That's our
to
tribute to the ladies of country.
Okay.
Now that is just an album title, but what that will turn into is a concept idea I kind of told you about when I sent you the information on it. A brainstorm of mine is to incorporate some of these tributes that pull in some of these ladies that are like classic ladies of country and tie them into a common theme that will tie into some of the local history in Missouri. And the one thing I found that was a common theme is the way Loretta Lynn was raised, which is common with a lot of the country ladies. There's a lot of them that were raised from very poor backgrounds, and you know, they weren't on top. They weren't from musical families. They just started from the bottom up, got themselves
Yeah.
exposure with really big names.
Yeah.
And then the other common thread that I found between Loretta Lynn and another artist that I'm featuring in the main part of the tribute is coal mining community. And so I thought, and then my brain started thinking once again, there's a history of mining in southern Missouri. So I thought, man, if I could find
Yeah.
a way to tie in a whole
The
show
lead
concept.
mines over in
Yes.
yeah.
So I thought if I could find a way to tie that all in, I mean, it would have great local appeal, you know, and I think it would be very appealing to the veterans and the, you know, people in the area that may have had relatives and people that worked for the mine at one
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So I thought that would be cool to take that and adapt all that into a show. And I kind of wrote it out like your previous guest. He wrote everything in a notebook.
Uh-huh.
You should see my notebooks.
Yeah.
But I've written everything out.
Yeah.
I've written comedy. I've written the whole storyline behind
Yeah.
it. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of getting it licensed so that nobody else just says, "Oh, I saw that on Facebook. I'm going to use it." You know,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so it is being licensed. But
Nice.
yeah, it's a whole tribute called Coal Miners Review.
Okay.
And that's going to include a lot more than just Loretta Lynn. It'll
Yeah.
include music from other artists. So yeah,
What other artists are featured in this show?
basically, I'd like to do a little more of. I haven't figured out a way to incorporate Reba, but I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to incorporate basically Barbara Mandrell stuff.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're looking at ladies from older ladies
Yeah.
and maybe some newer ladies. And I'm going to throw one in there because I do her music really good as Linda Ronstadt.
You do Patsy Cline?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a
I
Patsy
figured-
Cline
I
song on
figured
her
you-
album. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For some
It's
reason.
not one of her big hits. It's
Yeah.
actually one of her B-side
Oh yeah.
songs.
Well,
I
that's
kind of
good.
like that.
Yeah. Because everybody knows "Crazy" and
Yes.
"Walking After Midnight."
Oh,
and-
yeah.
And, yeah.
And I love those songs, and I may do those songs at some point.
Yeah.
But I wanted to pick a more obscure song because, well, royalty-wise, it's a little cheaper.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's also, it gives more exposure to what she really did, encompassing everything she did. You know.
I'm glad you mentioned the royalties because some people don't pay attention to that. And
I
don't,
do.
Because you can get in trouble
Yes, exactly.
and get fined
Exactly.
if you don't pay
Yeah.
those royalties. There are some people that use background tracks on their album and don't pay for the mechanical licensing from the
Right.
publishing company for that music. And as long as it stays under the radar and doesn't sell big, they probably won't have any trouble. But once it starts getting a lot of attention, someone will hear it and go, "Hey, that sounds familiar."
Yes,
Do they have a
especially
license
if they
for that?
worked on it.
No.
But
Yeah.
I got some advice from some of the 76 entertainers. They said pretty much, they said, if you're going to keep it just strictly to Branson, look at the older songs.
Yeah.
Like one of the songs on her Christmas album was an adaptation of Mr. Sandman, which is the
Oh,
Quartets.
yeah.
And when I actually looked at the royalties like that, they haven't been renewed. So I thought,
They were open or public domain.
yeah, they were public domain at this
Nice.
point now because of the
Nice.
point it's like,
So,
Yeah, I did
so
it.
she made a parody of it called Mr. Snowman.
yes, I did.
That's good. That's good.
What we usually do on our albums is we'll cover it under the Fair Use Act, and we actually print that out so that it's part of the album. So that way we can kind of double guarantee that
Yeah.
we're trying to give credit to the original artist, especially for doing a tribute. Yeah.
One of your goals is to continue to do more songwriting.
Yes.
What's your process? Do you write with the songs? Do you both work together on the
both-
songwriting?
She's come up with some
We
ideas.
both
kinda
kind of write down what kind of lyrics we want for our songs. Like she'll write down her lyrics and then she'll sing it to me. And like this original song we just recently came up with, she sang her original song to me, and then as I heard her sing it, a rhythm just started popping into my head that
Yeah.
I think would fit the
Of course,
song.
being a drummer, you have the
And
rhythm.
then, and so that's as soon as the rhythm popped into my head, I immediately told my mom, "Stop! I got a good rhythm for you that I think would go well with the
Yeah.
song." And so when I showed her the rhythm, then she was able to sing it properly, and then
Yeah.
that's how the song got
Well,
created.
my original
Nice.
vision is very much lyrics, and then I will come up with a couple of notes.
Yeah.
And that's how I operate.
Yeah.
I admit the first song that I worked on, "A Love That Won't Betray," was a song that came at like 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
3:30 in the morning type of thing.
Well, you said
know
that-
how your brain works
you
when
said-
you first come out
well,
of sleep.
well, you said that "Come Down to the Crossroads" was a 3 a.m. song.
Yeah, well, that was more like 4 a.m. Yes.
But yeah.
Whenever inspiration strikes, you
Yeah,
know.
well, I work a long shift, so obviously
Yeah.
it makes sense that I'm kind of in that superficial state of sleep, you know,
Oh yeah.
to
yeah.
start out with.
Yeah. What advice would you give to up and coming people who are wanting to get into music or
Nothing.
singing, acting, whatever?
I think I've thought of this for a long time. Nothing is insignificant. Do not be picky or snobbish about what project you take on, as long as it stays within the integrity of who you are as a person and what you believe in and your values. But I really firmly believe there is no such thing as a small project. There is no such thing as an insignificant role. Because believe it or not, if you have that bit part in that play or in that acting production, you're going to be noticed at some point. Because what's going to happen is, especially if they're taping it, people are going to look at it and look at it over and over again. But every time you look at something that you watch, you look for new things the
Yeah.
next time you watch it a second
Exactly.
time. So if it's like production work where they're actually being filmed, that helps. Now with stage acting, you get a chance to do it second, third, fourth night, fifth
Yeah.
night. Same with entertaining. You get to a point where it becomes like second nature. Don't run the risk of actually letting it become stale. I mean, I really can't emphasize that. Find
Right.
something new in everything you're doing with every show. Even if you have to kind of force the energy up a little
Yeah.
bit, keep going with it.
I do my monologue just probably a little different every night
Yeah.
and try to tweak it, and depending on the audience reaction.
Yes.
And I will, last night, for instance, I slowed it down and did it more emotionally, and I think that I could see the connection with the audience whenever I
Right.
did it that way.
And I have some advice as well.
Yes.
If you guys are upcoming, if there are any upcoming musicians, my advice I would give personally would be open to learning new things because I was just strictly a percussionist, drummer, and I played trumpet in high school. But just this last year, I started learning how to play piano because I wanted to open myself up to learning how to be a better songwriter because a lot of the best music has been written by people who are piano players or guitar players.
Yeah.
So I started learning to play the piano, hoping down the road I can learn how to become that eventually. And so be open to learning new things and always expose yourself to great professional musicians because
Oh, yes.
they can give you the
great
greatest advice
resource.
ever as far as how to write a tune, how to be a better musician. So
Exactly. Yeah. I don't say I'm self-taught guitarist. I never had any professional training, but I've sat and played and watched other much better guitarists with me, and I would watch their fingers and do some of the stuff that they do, try to adapt to
Wow.
it. So I've learned a lot from a lot of great
You do learn.
guitarists.
Yes, you do.
I just became friends with I just became friends on Facebook back in December with an awesome keyboard player, and
Yeah.
his name is Jim Daniker, and
works with Michael W.
he
Smith.
works with a Christian artist named Michael W. Smith, and
Yep.
so
I know.
he and I became good friends, and I asked him advice on how to play piano and stuff, and he gave me great advice.
Yeah.
Practice, practice, practice were his words.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and he says never let it be dull. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Practice. Yeah, I used to, yeah. My mom has a picture of me whenever I was like 13 or 14 when I first started playing guitar. I was on my bed, asleep with my guitar in my hand still in the chord
That's
position.
great.
Because I had played myself to sleep.
Oh, that's
Uh,
wonderful.
yeah,
Yes, that's wonderful.
That's
Oh.
funny. All right, now you're gonna sing a song. You both
Yes.
gonna sing?
Yeah.
We're both gonna
Okay.
sing.
Yeah,
We're gonna
sure.
do a vocal
All right.
thing,
So we're gonna. You want to introduce this song of what? It's
the
Amazing
first
Grace.
song,
The first song we're gonna do is called Psalm 24 by Christian and Keith Getty.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
And the second one is.
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
But it's
Okay.
a version that was revamped once again by Loretta Lynn.
Okay.
So it's actually one she did for her dad's funeral.
All right.
that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, oh, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears release. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind,